Hello everyone, welcome again. Today we will discuss about the swim bladder in fishes. At first, we come to definition of swim bladder. The swim bladder is an internal gas-filled organ present between the gut and the kidneys. It helps many bony fishes to control their buoyancy. That is, they can use the swim bladder to, uh, you know, remain in a desired water depth without having to waste any energy in swimming. Okay. Another important factor is that swim bladder is not found in the cartilaginous fishes. It is found only in the teleost, that is bony fishes. Okay. Next, the basic structure of swim bladder. It is essentially a tough sac-like structure with an overlying capillary network. This is just a sac with some capillary network covering it. Number two is the beneath the capillary system, the wall of the anterior part of the swim bladder consists of the following layers outside to inside. Another factor is that swim bladder is divided into two chambers, the anterior chamber and the posterior chamber. The anterior chamber has the following layers from outside to inside. The first layer is tunica externa, which is made up of dense collagenous fibrous materials. Number two layer is submucosa layer. Next, muscularis mucosa layer. Next, lamina propria, and the innermost layer is the epithelial cells. Now I want to show you the structure of a swim bladder. You can see the bottom one of the first column. That is the structure of a typical, swim bladder. It has two chambers, anterior chamber and the posterior chamber. The swim bladder is basically covered with some capillary network. There are several layers in the anterior chamber. The wall of the anterior chamber, from outside to inside, these layers are: first one is tunica externa, next one is submucosa, next muscularis mucosa, next lamina propria, and the innermost layer is epithelial cells. Third point in the structure is that the posterior chamber of swim bladder, uh, there's similar kind of layers in the posterior chamber, but outside the muscular mucosa layer, there is another glandular layer. This is an extra layer. The glandular layer is the extra layer which is found in the posterior chamber but not found in the anterior chamber. This layer is richly supplied with blood capillaries from the rete mirabile. That is, the posterior chamber has rete mirabile, and the blood capillaries from this rete mirabile supply this glandular layer. Number four is swim bladder lies below the kidneys, between the gonads and above the gut. This is the position of the swim bladder. It lies below the kidneys, between the gonads and above the gut. Fifth point, the swim bladder opens into the esophagus by a connection called ductus pneumaticus. As you can see in the first picture, there is a connection between the gut and the swim bladder. This connection is called ductus pneumaticus, although this is not present in all the fishes. Okay, it is lost in some fishes. The gas secreted by the swim bladder is mostly oxygen, nitrogen, and little quantity of carbon dioxide also present. Okay, so if question comes that what is the gas that is present within the swim bladder, then the answer is it is mostly oxygen, few nitrogen, and little quantity of carbon monoxide. Carbon dioxide is also present there. Okay, this is the gas composition. And who described that? Biot and Moran. Okay. Next, I come to the most important point, that is type of swim bladder. Okay, depending on the presence of the connection between swim bladder and the esophagus, that is, based on the presence of ductus pneumaticus, we can divide swim bladder into two types. Okay, these two types are physostomus type and physoclistus type. In physostomus type, the swim bladder develops from the esophagus. When the ductus pneumaticus is present between the swim bladder and the esophagus, the swim bladder is called physostomus type. That is, the first type is called physostomus type. You can see uh, this is the rudimentary swim bladder that is developing in the embryo. It is getting enlarged, and now the anterior chamber is forming here. The anterior chamber is enlarged in this picture, and this is the fully formed swim bladder. This is the anterior chamber, this is the posterior chamber. But the connection, that is the ductus pneumaticus, which connects the swim bladder with esophagus, is still present there. Therefore, it is the physostomach condition. But in the next picture, you can see the connection between the esophagus and the swim bladder is lost during the course of development. Therefore, this type of swim bladder is known as physoclistus type. Okay. Uh, Now, if anyone asks you why you can find physoclistus type of swim bladder, then we can find it in spiny ray fishes. Okay, ray fish, spiny ray fish, they have physoclistus type of swim bladder. Okay, and where you can find the physostomus condition, you can find in bony fish, dipnoans, and soft red teleosts. Okay, this is the figure. And now, functions of the swim bladder. What are the different functions of swim bladder? The swim bladder of fish play a different role in the body of fish. First, they form a hydrostatic organ in the body of fish. It is also adjustable float by which the fish can swim, and it actually floats in the water. Number three is maintain proper center of gravity by blowing air into the swim bladder or absorbing the gas. They can maintain the proper center of gravity. Next, respiration. The air present in the swim bladder also used in respiration in some fishes because it's just a sac-like structure, and the air enters through the mouth and passes the esophagus through ductus pneumaticus. It enters into the swim bladder, and the capillary network that is present around the swim bladder actually absorbs the oxygen from the utilizes the oxygen from there. uh, and the last point is resonator. Actually, in some fishes, the swim bladder acts as a resonator, which helps to produce sound in some fishes. So this is all about swim bladder in fishes. I think you have understood at least something about it. Thanks for attending my class.